you go back far enough, we're all 1/16 something. I'm probably 1/16 black. You think they're gonna let me play Blade?
Hi, I'm Christopher John Farley, a senior editor with the Wall Street Journal. I'm here with Aziz Ansari. He has a new book out called Modern Romance, and he has a new Netflix series called Master of None. Aziz, thanks for coming to the Wall Street Journal.
Thanks for having me.
Now, the show's been getting raised for its comic invention. I'm wondering, was it a battle to get this thing in production, to get the green light for it?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
It was a very fortunate situation where I went to Netflix and said I want to do a series and kind of loosely pitched what the show would be about. And they
what was that pitch? What was that pitch?
The pitch wasn't this sophisticated thing. We really just said we wanted to do a single camera show that would be a narrative version of my comedic voice. And they said, we're in and we're going straight to series. We want to do 10 episodes. No pilot, nothing like that.
He calls it poop shoes.
I wasn't on board initially, but poop shoes, that's just good branding.
You were on the Late Show the other day and with your dad. And is it difficult to direct your mom and your dad in a show? I mean, does he take direction well?
It's definitely a strange thing that neither of them had ever acted before. But what's interesting about using non-actors sometimes is because they have no professional training, their performances end up being very natural and real. How many women did you meet before you decided on Mom?
2.
2, that's it? What was wrong with the first lady?
It's a little bit too tall.
There's also a great sequence in the series where you sort of flash back to the lives of immigrant parents and their journey to America. What sparked that?
Alan and I just started talking about our own family's journeys to America, and Alan told me his father's story, which is pretty similar to the story of the Peter character in the show. And I'm just really fascinated by that idea of just this idea of people just leaving their country and coming here where they don't know anybody, maybe don't even speak the language, and trying to make a life here. It's a very brave thing that I feel like no one ever really gives them credit for. And it's a story that's just not really told a lot, so it seemed like really ripe for us to do an episode about it.
You've also been very outspoken about issues of diversity in Hollywood. And with shows like Quantico, Dr. Ken, Fresh Off the Boat, are things changing in terms of Hollywood casting, or are these sort of more anomalies?
I think things are slowly changing and things are moving in the right direction, but I don't think it's time to like pat everyone on the back. There's still so much to do, I think. And, you know, the reason I've been talking about this stuff is what I want to try to address is this idea of if you're casting something, don't think of Asian women only when there's a nail salon. Don't think of Indian men only when there's a convenience store. Everyone can do anything. Everyone is more interesting and compelling than their ethnicity and an accent. Like, everyone has something to bring. And the real world is that. And in our show, I know we've gotten a lot of praise for the diversity of our show, but honestly, it wasn't something we did to get that kind of praise. It was a real depiction of my worldview, and when I hang out with people, I do have Asian friends, I do have black friends, and it feels real, and I think that's important too.
You also have a book out, Modern Romance, a book that's funny, but also makes some serious points about dating and hooking up and marriage in the 21st century. And one part of the book that I found really interesting is the fact that your parents had an arranged marriage, and of course it worked for them. And you also talk about the concept of a soulmate, how more people in their 20s and 30s today believe in the concept of finding the one that's absolutely perfect, that there's the one out there, which is almost kind of in conflict with the whole idea of arranged marriage.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you believe in the concept of the soulmate after doing that book?
When I talked to social scientists that have studied marriage, they basically described to me how just decades ago, people were looking for something called companionate marriage, where it was just about finding someone good enough to start a family with, like a decent person, and ideally you grow to love them. But there was not this process that we go about now where it's all about finding this perfect person, and you don't start that journey of marriage until you find this amazing, perfect person. And it's tough to say what's right, and I feel like myself and other people I know that we all struggle with these questions, and it's dealt with in the show as well. It's a hard thing to answer.
When you close your eyes, do you see Dev and Rachel in a cozy house with little Devs running around?
I just see black.
Now, of course, you've been doing a Bobby Jindal impression. Have you gotten any feedback from it? Have you heard from the GOP candidate himself about your impression?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard from him at all. I don't know if he has a way to reach out to me. I think he's got other troubles.
Well, thanks a lot for coming to the Wall Street Journal.
Thanks so much for having me.